Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sally Cloak, and I'm going to start my lightning talk with a question. How many designers does it take to change a light globe? The answer is, of course, does it have to be a light globe? Now, all good jokes are based in truth, and lurking behind that tired old joke is something very insightful about what design can do. Over the past few decades, there's been a change in how industry views the job of the designer. Clients used to ask, can you make this look good? Now they ask us, can you help solve this problem? That's a big step forward, but there's still a way to go because, as Jared said, the most significant contribution designers can make in the commercial world and in research is not so much in solving problems, but in framing them. In fact, the most useful tool in the designer's arsenal is not the MacBook, it's this. It's a problem frame. Ta-da. Now, this is an essential piece of kit for the designer because problems don't come ready-made. They need defining and refining. Problem framing describes the process of qualifying, clarifying questions, testing assumptions, setting boundaries, getting to the problem behind the problem. Now, Einstein is quoted as saying, if I had 1 hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. So with what's left of my 9 minutes, I'm going to apply this concept of problem framing to my research project, which looks at the relationship between design, sleep, and social justice. So it seems at the moment, everywhere that we look, there's a new product or a lifestyle hack designed to improve our sleep. These range from smartphone apps or other wearables that track body movements and temperatures, or there's cuddly toys with a heartbeat designed to calm our nervous systems while we sleep. Even grounded bed sheets that safely discharge all that excess static electricity we build up in the night so we don't spontaneously combust. Yeah, all in all, the market for sleep products is worth well into the tens of billions. And a lot of this focus on sleep makes good sense. There's growing evidence that not getting enough sleep contributes to a wide range of mental and physical health conditions that have serious consequences for individuals and society. It's everything from dementia, heart disease, depression, accidents at work, you name it. But you probably won't be surprised to hear that many of these new sleep products have no scientifically supported benefits whatsoever. Even a simple sleep tracker can do more harm than good. Not only are they often inconsistent or unreliable in how they work, this data quantification has given rise to a new health condition known as orthosomnia. Apparently, some people become so obsessed with getting the ideal sleep as tracked by their sleep device that they stay awake at night worrying about it. But there is a bigger issue here, and it applies to more traditional sleep products like earplugs and sleeping pills, as well as newer ones. And it's basically this. It's the frame that they're using. The frame is simply too small. They are framing problems at what we could say is an individual level. Now, sometimes poor sleep is due to poor individual choices. Study left to the last minute, binge watching that TV show so you finish it before work. But just as with every other aspect of human health, individual and behavioural factors play a much smaller role than demographic, economic and structural ones. Sleep is socially determined, and very few of those determinants are within the power of an individual to change or control, with or without the latest high-tech sleep product. For example, a soothing podcast that tells you a bedtime story might help with those anxious thoughts that are keeping you awake, but has no effect on your precarious employment as a food delivery rider, which is the actual source of your worries. A gentle sunrise alarm clock may make it more pleasant if you have to get up at 6 a.m, but it can't compensate for being kept awake past 2 a.m. by being elbowed in the head because you have to share a bed with your little brother and there's just nowhere else to sleep. Then there's urban noise, light pollution, addictive technology, long commutes, family caring responsibilities, lack of access to health care or nutritious food, no safe place for exercise or play, all the demands of the 24/7 economy, poor health knowledge, disability, race discrimination, all of these things. In fact, it turns out that the things that make waking life hard are the things that make sleep hard too. So sleep exists in an ecosystem of institutions, practices and norms shaped by inequalities of money and privilege, with a host of big players, pharmaceutical companies, tech companies, government agencies, health bodies, the media. And while, of course, some people go without sleep, others profit from it. Like any area where access to a common good is unfairly distributed, sleep is an issue of social justice. If we're really going to make a difference to how people sleep and to the health and well-being of our communities, we're going to need a bigger frame. So, my research explores how design could help shape a more sleep-positive world by framing the problem of sleep on a societal scale. We're going beyond gadgets here to coordinated approaches that put good sleep at the heart of the good society, recognising that housing providers, employers, community groups, researchers, policymakers all have a role to play, as do people with lived experience of poor sleep. Now, we've seen that commercial product design isn't doing a great job at framing the problem, so I've been exploring the alternative field of speculative design. Now, speculative design is like the science fiction of design. It's a research practice rather than a commercial one, so it's more free to be experimental and provocative, to spend all its time on framing the problem. Speculative design takes basically the ultimate object of capitalist desire, the consumer good, and defamiliarises it. It doesn't create exactly a consumer bad, but it's certainly a consumer weird. I found a lot more examples of speculative designs that recognise the socially determined nature of sleep than I have commercial ones. For example, just one, an alarm clock that doesn't wake you up at a certain set time, but it wakes you up after you've after you've had the right amount of sleep, which really puts the onus on you when you're thinking what time to go to bed. And there's something I've been working on, a futuristic app that lets you go without sleep as much as you want, but it also calculates how much shorter your life's going to be because of all the negative health benefits. Negative benefits? Whatever. And I've also been running workshops introducing the idea of the sleep-positive society to people and getting them to map their idea of sleeptopia, where there's room for play and protest and noise and fun as well as sleep. Now, in this election campaign, we haven't heard much about sleep, but politicians have been busy framing all sorts of problems for us, so we all know who's to blame. Immigrants, people on welfare, or what people on the other side of politics have done or haven't. Maybe the solution here is to get a bigger frame, because maybe then there'd be room to include a few nuances to the picture, a few socio-economic factors that have been left out, even a bit of empathy. And we might even, with a big enough frame, be able to see ourselves as part of the problem and then truly be able to work towards a solution. Diolch.